It's 11:11. Make a wish.
Welcome to Hacking Hypermobility Podcast.
I'm Luna.
And I'm Shelli.
And we're two bendy mamas
hacking hypermobility.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the first installment of Help I'm Alive. Before we get started, we have a few announcements. First, if you wanted to catch up with me on a different podcast, I recently visited Actually, my friend Lee. I appeared in episodes 73 and 74. The podcast is Actual Lee, and you can find it anywhere you find podcasts. And Lee is super awesome and crafty, and you should check out her content. Okay, next. This is going to be kind of listener-led after this episode. So if you have any questions that you want to ask me about anything I've talked about, email me. And you can email me at questions@hackinghypermobility.com. And the final announcement from me is that we are going to be launching some merch in the shop. You might notice on our website that you can click on the shop link and see some stuff. I don't think we quite have that ironed out yet. Tiffany has been without power and is still without power, which is why some of our production value is a little bit not quite what we normally are. Not that our production value is, as it is. Anyway, that's my last announcement, except for this other announcement that I forgot about, which is, I just forgot it again. This is why I should use a script, but I can't. What was it? I'm going to sit here and figure it out. The last section of this episode is footage from my PT sessions, and the sound quality isn't the best. The room is very echoey. It was our very first session. I tried to record future sessions with a better setup, but it is what it is. The parts are kind of choppy, but the captions, if you go onto the video, are all there. And so that would be my suggestion if you have difficulty understanding what we talked about. But I think what we talked about is really important and is worth a listen if you can tolerate the 10 minutes of it. Okay, bye.
Hi, everyone. Tiffany here. I just wanted to jump on really quick and talk about something incredibly important for our zebra community, the Ehlers Danlos Society's Road to 2026 project, and more specifically, the feedback survey that they just launched. So for anybody that had thoughts or opinions or maybe some suggestions about the 2017 diagnostic criteria that they wish they could have had some input on, I have good news for you. This is a really important opportunity for us all to have our voices heard. So what is this Road to 2026 all about in the first place? Thank you for asking. The Ehlers Danlos Society website explains that the Road to 2026 is a path and process towards the update of the 2017 International Classification of the Ehlers Danlos Syndrome. The aim of the update is to advance understanding and management of EDS and HSD on a global scale, reduce the time to diagnosis, and improving care. So the key elements that are being considered for the update of the classification criteria, diagnostic pathway, creation of an assessment and treatment pathways, all awesome things that we've all been wanting and begging for. So a big part of that strategic plan involves gathering information directly from our community. With that being said, please take a moment to head over to the Ehlers Danlos Society's website and complete the survey. It's called Road to 2026 Community Questions, Hopes, and Feedback Form. And there's only a few questions on it, and it's your opportunity to share any questions you have about the upcoming process, suggestions, and your hopes for the future. So we'll put a link in the show notes down below. Shelli, Luna, and I have all done it, and it's time for you to add your voice and help shape the future of our zebra herd. So really exciting. And just a heads up, there will also be a big EDS and HSD community experience survey that's coming up in March 2025. And I just wanted to put it on your radar because it's going to be super important. The topics of the survey, not this survey that we're doing now, the survey that's coming up in March, will include hearing actual experiences from us in the community about our diagnostic journeys, diagnostic criteria and classification, symptoms and management, barriers and access to care, impact on daily life, mental health and emotional well-being, the financial impact. So everything that we've ever wanted people and doctors and the community to listen to us, now's our chance. So friendly reminder, that one again does not launch until March 2025. So just keep it on your mind. You can always read more about it, this survey and the one in March, by going to the Ehlers Danlos Society's website at www.ehlers-danlos.com. Go to the hamburger menu in the top right, go down to research, and select the Road to 2025, a path towards progress. You can also sign up. They have a newsletter where they're going to update and send out any news and things. It's called Connect. You can sign up for it there. Okay, that's it. I'm done. Back to the episode. Remember to stay hydrated and please eat something. Bye.
Hi, and welcome to Hacking Hypermobility's Help I'm Alive, the little project I've decided to take on this year. And this premiere episode has been a little difficult for me to come up with. I'm a planner, but I'm also a procrastinator. And I have had this content in my head for a while, but I've been unable to extricate it from my brain until today, when I went looking for a paper to back up some of the things that I'm going to be talking about. And so what am I going to be talking about? Today, I'm going to be talking about Alexithymia. And every time I say the word that I'm trying to say, digital assistant picks it up. In fact, I'm going to go unplug her because I feel like I'm going to be saying it a few times and I don't want to have to always be making these corrections. All right. Hi, I'm Shelli. I am one of the two bendy mamas from Hacking Hypermobility, and this is our third season, and we've decided to change it up a little bit, and this season is going to focus on my orthopedic surgeries that I had in 2024. I had 3 of them, if you haven't been following along or if you're new to us. In September of 2024, I had my right hip labrum repaired surgically. It was arthroscopic. It was successful. And in December 2nd, and then December 12th, I had trigger finger release surgery on my middle fingers, first my right, then my left. I'm going to be knitting while I record this episode because I'm on my own and I'm highly distractible. And so I have found that if I do something while I am talking, I'm sometimes better able to get my thoughts out. And this happened to me when I was in school also. I would doodle or be reading or doing something else entirely. And sometimes that would not make my teachers very pleased, but it didn't affect my performance in the classroom at all. In fact, it kept me from talking to my neighbors, which I frequently got in trouble for. But that's not what this episode today is about. Today's episode is brought to you by the letter A and the word Alexithymia. If you're not familiar with Alexithymia, it's difficulty in identifying and expressing emotions. And I have an article that I found quite lengthy. It's about 10 pages. I'm going to be referring to it periodically throughout this episode. But the reason why I bring it up is I think Alexithymia and interoception, which is also mentioned in this article, played a huge role in the delay of me getting care and having these surgeries. And we're going to talk through it a little bit, and I will link this in the show notes. And additionally, I would love to hear from anybody who listens to this. I'm going to include a poll at the end if you have trouble with this particular phenomenon called alexithymia, or also I'm interested in hearing any and all of your questions related to the surgeries that I just mentioned. And my plan is to structure each of the subsequent episodes around a phenomenon or a feature that people who have autism, ADHD, or some other type of neurodivergence or chronic illness face when they're trying to seek care. Because as we're finding through all of these studies and late diagnoses, and as we actually investigate how marginalized communities are affected by lack of access to care, getting care, or even quality of care, it's becoming more known. Okay, so alexithymia, what is it? Well, it was first identified in the mid-70s, and I want to read something that really stood out to me when I was researching this. So, it was first described in patients seeking treatment for what they called psychosomatic symptoms, okay? Quote, a significant portion of patients experiencing somatic symptoms such as pain or fatigue also described being in a state of personal distress, but had a striking inability to clearly articulate their feelings to clinicians. That's actually from 1973 and 1976 is where that reference came from. Does this ring a bell with anyone? Does this sound familiar to anyone? One of the biggest issues I had when describing my pain is that I didn't know how to describe it. I couldn't tell you where it was. I just knew that I didn't feel good. Now, when people in TikTok or out on social media, you've seen them describing alexithymia, and that's in reference to emotions or expressing emotions. This dives a little bit deeper and makes a connection to both neurodivergence and interoception, which is knowing what it feels like in your body. So all of us who frequently ignore our body signals, that's you, that's me, that's my whole family, except for my husband. Anyway, what does poor interoception look like in other age groups? When I was a kid, if I was really into what I was doing, I would not get up and go to the bathroom. And I would only really notice when it was an urgent situation, which would frequently cause me to get in trouble a little bit for not paying attention and almost peeing my pants. But I didn't know why I was doing it. I didn't know that I had this issue with interoception. Okay. So let's take poor interoception and inability to express feelings, or in my situation, I can identify and express my emotions. It's not always the preferred method, right? I am very quick to react sometimes, and then give me 5 minutes and I will have a completely different response. And initially, I think that's just the way my brain is responding. Okay. So I don't know when my hip first was causing me problems. I know I complained about a lot of problems with my body and my joints as early as the mid 2000s. By late 2000s, when I was 33, I had been seeking help for fatigue, joint pain, muscle weakness. It was hard for me, like I mentioned before, to describe. And that resulted in me being referred for a mental health evaluation. And much like this article states, not all of the interventions, of course I had some depression and anxiety. Why wouldn't I? I go to the doctor. I have a problem. It's quote unquote psychosomatic in their mind because my blood work is all normal enough for them to send me on my way and tell me I probably just need some SSRIs, right? But that only solves some of the problem because I was basically told that I wasn't feeling anything, that it was all in my head, that perpetuated the problem. So the disconnect remained. Finding out my neurotype and getting that diagnosis really opened up my access to care, because I knew that people who are neurodivergent often struggle with interoception. I witnessed it in my own home raising my children. Once I knew that might be my problem, I started working on it. And once I started working on it, I was able to better describe how I was feeling. Now, do I think the pain scale is an effective way of determining if someone's in pain? No. And there's a variety of reasons why. I'm going to tell you a story about why it doesn't work for me. When I was little, I frequently complained about things. If I got hit even if it was an accident, if someone brushed me or hit my arm, I would say, ow, that hurts, because it hurt me. And in response to that, an adult or a grown up or someone who I trusted would say, that didn't hurt, or you're fine. And so that taught little Shelli to just be like, oh, well, that's not what pain is. I didn't even realize I was a chronic pain patient until TikTok. Like, I knew I had some issues, but I really, really, truly thought it was all in my head because that's what everybody was saying. It's really just amazing. Now, so I had some bilateral hip imaging done, and they were like, yeah, you're fine. That was in 2022. Over the course of the next several years, my back pain got worse. My neck pain got worse. My knees remained the same. They're fine as long as I don't sit or stand for too long. But my back pain was worse. And then my hip I got to where I couldn't stand. I couldn't sit. And so I asked my pain management specialist, who really specializes on my spine. I get trigger point injections about every 6 weeks. And those are very, very helpful for me personally. I've had great success with those. I mentioned my hip pain to him. And so what he'd suggested was, because insurance is the way insurance is, and getting certain images approved over other images is easier rather than, I'm preaching to the choir here. It's a process, and y'all know that. He ordered a full pelvic MRI. And what that did was kind of gave a snapshot view of the entire area. And we were not surprised to find that, my lumbar spine was not great. I have some generation disc issues, things like that. But it also pointed to the fact that it seemed like there might be a tear in my right hip. And so once we had that information, he ordered a right hip x-ray and an MRI at the same time. And he did that because a lot of times insurance will make you get an x-ray first, even though the x-ray is not really going to show the soft tissue damage that an MRI will. So that's just a little tip. If you can convince your doctor to write the orders for both and get them both scheduled. I was lucky to get mine scheduled without any issue. That MRI showed an extensive tear in my right hip labrum. And because of the way my hip anatomy was, they didn't measure it. The words in the image said extensive. Now, when I went in for the surgery, which was not immediately, I had that MRI done in March of 2024. I didn't meet with a surgeon. I couldn't get in with him until the end of May of 2024. And then I agreed to do 6 weeks of PT, even though I knew that the PT was not going to fix anything, because what they were having me do in PT was the type of things that I wasn't able to do in Pilates anymore. So I already knew that wasn't going to work, but I did it. I met a fantastic physical therapist who agreed to let me record all of our sessions after I had my hip surgery. And so at the end of each of these episodes, when I discuss my journey through these surgeries through this lens of these different aspects of neurodivergence, I'm going to play a snippet of my PT session at the end of each episode that relates to that. Today's episode is a little disjointed and out of control, but in full transparency, I'm recording this at 2:30 p.m. on 18th. So today is the day, and I'm going to release this in less than 9 hours. I've never done that before. And I've figured out that the reason why I couldn't do anything related to this whole season, even though I had conceptualized it in my brain and I have a shit ton of content for it, until today, I had zero actual ability to complete it. I recorded something yesterday or 2 days ago as a test. That didn't go well. And so then I took a nap. But anyway, so, okay. Well, that's Alexithymia. Okay, what?
Rolling over in bed.
I can do that, but it's awkward.
Not really difficult.
It's quite a bit of difficulty, but guess what? It was quite a bit difficult before I even had the surgery.
13.
Okay, 13 out of
80.
Is that bad? I'm going to be naked or anything, right? I need to go. I mean, that's not the kind of therapy I signed up for. Are you comfortable? So I'm actually good. So I can hobble around like this. Yeah. And I've been doing it, and my body allows, but I feel like I'm breaking rules, like I shouldn't. But instead of like listening to the paper and kind of listening to your protocol,
I did.
did you bring it?
No, I did.
How did you do that?
I remember the PT works.
Yeah.
But it was basically, you can do these functions, and for being body allows it. You can.
Probably. So probably like weight bearing is tolerated. I haven't done full weight. I've been just, my concern about doing that is I don't want to keep screwing up this left side by being of contours like I do. Can you take these? Because they're just so on my face. Do you feel like you walk more on kilter with the crutches? Here's the problem with the crutches. Yeah. These are severely bruised and in pain. Also, I can't grip or it activates the trigger finger in both of my hands and then my fingers stay still. Right. And also my shoulders are stupid. Right. That's a lot of work. Because you're upper half. Correct. So I have a fantastic rollator wheelchair combo that we got prior to. And I just kind of, when I feel like I can't do my modified standing, I have a seat and wheel it home. So I feel like I'm doing great. But again, I'm like, really? Yeah. Sometimes things don't have to be the hardest, which is crazy. I know.
That's what surgery was supposed to do.
I know, but like nothing in my life, it's never been like, we're gonna, like, I'm waiting for the shoe to drop. Like, I'm waiting for the complication. And it's not gonna be like totally live very long this whole time. It's not gonna be perfect recovery the whole way out. Right. But good that you're feeling good 2 weeks out. Take advantage of it while you have it. I tried to, like, the other day, it's raining. So I actually went out and like crunched around in the yard and like trying to get back to things that I like to do. Also understanding it looks. Yeah. But yeah, I do. I feel my attitude is mostly good. My sleep is still weird. Why is it weird? I just like, I can't necessarily do my like regular sleep flipping around routine. Okay. Did he give you any other things that you can't or shouldn't be doing? Or were they kind of like progress as it is?
Progresses the feelings, actually, like,
Posted Thursday, so I was definitely getting more information then. Because
this one was like,
I was pretty drunk.
don't get this stuff like for the first couple of days, but then take a shower. Yeah. Put weight on it. The first couple of days, but then you can do like 20 to 30%.
Cool. Yeah, sometimes they come with specific instructions. It's like, I want you doing this at this number of weeks, this number of weeks. And sometimes it's kind of like, I did self-enjoy it this way, and then
We may get more instructions.
Thursday. Either way, though, I'm not going to do it the way I said.
That's what they basically said, like,
Let's be honest. Say the gun.
they basically said trust your PT.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I trust you. That's how I came to me. Well, you're the one with your hands on my body, showing what's going on. Like, his hands were only on my body to like, and then he was like, bye. Yeah. Sure. So. I mean, thank you, sir. We appreciate your service. Yes. I mean, I've been reading about him and he fixes shoulders too. Yeah. So just keep him around. In the back pocket. Went to that special extra training for all that repair stuff. So he's the one I'm going to go to. I think. Yeah. What else would you like to know? Other than sleeping still been a little weird. Yeah. What else has still been difficult? Obviously, we're not fully walking. Normal. Yeah. So I would say it's just my difficulties are less physical and more like wrapping my brain around the fact that I have to live So that's been more of the challenge for me because I feel like I'm in a good place, like mentally and emotionally, and I want to do stuff. And this is like breaking me. However, I think we strategically timed the surgery well because the fall time, like I like the fall, but like we're getting into like hibernation period, so that would be good for me to like rehab well. Right.
I think too, since like we have felt pretty good for the 2 weeks post-op, it is hard to remember like, oh yeah, I did just have surgery. Because when we feel good, we want to go do things, and we like get a little confident.
Correct. I am making another plan because I know that I do.
So what would you say are some of our big goals? So I'm going to get back to dance. Awesome.
I think I would like to. I've been reading a lot about the way like mobilities that people like me would benefit well from. Look into rollers or something like that to help build these. Because this is where I lead.
Yeah.
And so I really like.
I like that. Especially from like the stability component. So good for stability.
And it will meet all of my things. It'll like get my sitting with dancing and music. It'll help with my muscle building.
And it's a little bit of cardiovascular too. I like it.
Is there old lady rollers? That's not roller derby. Because roller derby.
Roller derby is a first time.
No. I need to sit at roller derby.
Yeah.
I think like aerobics, but like
It's
old ladies. If not, I need to think.
What?
It's just recent. So I bought this sweet like combo. Well, I used to use a combo shower stool also. Yeah, and bought the toilet. How like all of the searches I was doing it was for elderly. I don't think they really need to work on there. Like,
Yeah.
that's why there's this thing. Right. What else would you like to?
Any other goals?
Well, I'm getting to about 15 pounds during this whole process of not being able to move. I would say since January. It's
Yeah.
10. This morning I was able to kind of get on that. I don't know how clear it is because of the way I was standing. I was scaled, to be honest. They said I was about 68. So I generally prefer to be like in the mid 150s.
Okay.
So I feel a little like,
Don't feel our best.
I mean, all things considered.
And then what equipment do we have at home as far as like
Let me tell you,
to be
I have a suite. My setup is, you live near, we should talk offline sometime and have you make sure everything's set up.
Yeah.
That's good. If you're available to, and I don't know if you have a separate consultation. I don't want to be like, giving me your free time to like make me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I have a reformer. I have a box for the reformer. It has a pull-up bar, not the full raise, but the one where I could do like, we've got bands. I've got small Bosu balls that are like tiny, big for standing or like helping with stability. We've got.
I have a big daily.
Used to, but I don't think no, I just have a regular Pilates ball. I have a ring, bands. Cool. And I've got a good setup.
awesome.
So that's what I wanted to talk to you about also is getting here isn't always like do you do virtual?
Not typically.
I don't know. I'm sorry, I distracted.
No, that's okay. Anything that aggravates it currently.
So I was getting a little too excited with my closet organization last night, and I caught myself doing a little twistiness. Like I was like twisting.
Does anything weight on it bother you at all?
I haven't put,
You can put full weight.
and I didn't know that I wanted to wait and have that be witnessed by other people.
Yeah.
So they get someone else to like with their eyes to me, because I don't always trust what my brain tells me is saying.
Right. From 0 to 10.
10. That's what I
Yeah.
thought about the
Do you know how I waited to ask that question?
I was waiting.
I know.
Is this specifically about my hip at this exact moment?
That just means how significant it is to you.
You're gonna make me stand there.
Actually, let's look at some of your emotion first.
So that wraps up episode 1 and a snippet of my first week of PT following hip surgery.
Don't forget to send me your questions to questions@hackinghypermobility.com. And if you're wondering why this episode was called Alexithymia, it's because the autocorrect captioning in the Riverside app wants to call Alexithymia Alexithymia. So I thought that was hilarious. Bye.